everybody. So today I'm going to show you what I'm making for lunch today, and I wanted to go over a few things because I think we are so sped up, we expect things to go by so quickly that we forget that we have the power to slow down. And so I'm going to start off this video by just asking everybody to slow down. Just slow down a bit. Whatever goal you're trying to achieve, whatever path you're about to embark on or you're already on, you're going to get through it. So give yourself a break, slow down, and start paying attention to the important things in life. Your TV show will always be there because we all, pretty much everybody has DVD, DVR. If they don't, then you can get it on an iPad, you can get it on an iPhone. Media is available to us everywhere. Websites, and that stuff isn't going away. So since it's not going away, you can turn away from it once in a while. And honor yourself and prepare foods that you enjoy and that are nutritious. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about cilantro a little bit because I'm not sure everybody out there is aware that cilantro, you can chop up the whole thing. Now, the only reason I say this is because when I was getting interested in raw foods, I used to pick off the leaves. I used to strip them, and I didn't use the stems at all. And when I started eating raw, I discovered that you can actually eat the whole thing. I'm going to start by chopping up some cilantro. I'm going to shred some cabbage using my very finest shredding blade, which does a really nice job on cabbage. It makes it really tender and sweet and juicy. I'll show that to you. And then I'm going to chop up a pepper, and then I'm going to make a rice tortilla, sort of burrito, I don't know what you want to call it, tostada, taco, anything. I'm going to heat some cheese on there with some walnuts and some cooked quinoa. So this is going to be a raw meats cooked meal that's got cheesy, yummy deliciousness. So here's a tip for you. When you're at the grocery store and you see something that you're not familiar with, for me, it's peppers. I'm not familiar with peppers. I haven't used them a whole lot. And so when I was in the grocery store yesterday, I grabbed one of every single pepper that was for sale at this particular grocery store. So here's this long one. I actually don't know the name of these. So I just grabbed the peppers, and there were different colors. I used a red one last night. Red one turned out to be sweet. Wasn't anything hot about it at all. So today I decided I want to try this yellow pepper. And so I opened it up. I took out this membrane from this side and I tasted it, and it's mildly hot. So I do want hot on the meal that I'm making today. So I'm going to go ahead and chop this up, and I'm going to remove the membrane on this one, but on this one I'm going to leave it on. So I want a little bit of hot, not a lot of hot. But I'm still going to chop this whole thing up and add it to my cilantro. So tip is just, explore, try things raw, and you don't have to buy a million of these. Just buy one at a time and then just see how they taste. And then when you figure which one you like the most, go back to the store and find out what it's called. All right. Who doesn't love green onion, right? So my green onions were in pretty bad shape. But you can see this one's starting to grow a new sprout there. So it's still good. It's still alive. But I just took off all the dead stuff, and then I'm going to mince this up top to bottom. So I think you've seen me use this before. It's just this really inexpensive $9.99 or $14.99 depending on where you live mandolin. So it's got a really nice sharp blade in there, and it's got these little individual blades that come in a really fine julienne. They come a little wider space than this for a thicker julienne. And then there's a blank plate that goes here that lets you use the slicer just as is. Anyway, this really easy to clean, easy to use, and so I run the cabbage over this with a really fine tooth, and you'll see that here in just a minute. Here's the cabbage, the red cabbage. I'm making this meal for one. There are my scallions, my green onions, that yellow pepper. and the cilantro. So as I was saying, I'm making this meal for one, but you know, for two people, you just double this. And it's so easy to prepare this even in large quantities, because then you just start shredding the whole cabbage. You chop the whole bunch of cilantro and several peppers and so forth. So anyway, everybody can make this, and it translates really well to entertaining larger groups of people. Okay, so now we're entering the cooking portion of this meal. And so what I start off with is a rice tortilla, and that's because I'm currently staying with someone who is gluten intolerant, and I've found that eating a lot of wheat, just in particular, I don't think I'm gluten intolerant, but I just think that wheat products in particular sort of bloat me, so I try to stick to other grains, just give it some variety. But anyway, so I shred up some cheese. Now, you could use a vegan cheese, you can use a local organic cheese. Quinoa. Quinoa is a great grain, according to sources on the web. It's high in protein. And what I do is I cook up a little bit of quinoa, actually a bunch of quinoa, and just have it on hand. And then that way I can use it as sort of a filler, and you can season it with salt and pepper and sauteed mushrooms to make it more meaty, or however you want to do it, just play with it. So quinoa on there, and then I just sprinkle on some walnuts. Okay, so now the cheese is melted, and what I do before I start putting toppings on, I take scissors and just cut straight across into little triangles. You can cut them smaller, however you want. So now we're just going to add our toppings. So the first thing I'm going to put down on my pizza, or whatever you want to call this, is going to be the purple, the purple cabbage, which just starts making this meal starts popping with color and looking a little bit like a flower. And then I'm going to follow that up with some onions and pepper. And this is that yellow pepper I'm trying, and the green onions. Just want that all out on my pizza. And then just going to sprinkle some cilantro on here, get some green on here. All of it's nice. And then I'm going to top that off with some red. Get some tomato in there. And by the way, when I dice my tomatoes, I'll put them in a little bowl for serving, or if they're just on the cutting board, then what I do is I'll just sprinkle a tiny bit of salt on them. Do everything with intention, and do everything with, think about you're eating this and you want it to look pretty. So put a little tomato on there, and then we'll just finish it off with some avocado slices that we can just place on each piece, so every bite has an avocado in it. Okay, and then one last thing for those of you who like really hot and spicy foods. This rooster sauce is really good, but if there are any of you that are eliminating refined sugars from your diet, this would not be a good choice. This is just loaded with sugar, and that's what makes it so good. But it really is delicious, and I use it just in moderation. And I use it mostly just a little dab on these. Just kind of finishes it off, makes it look like you're a chef, which everybody is and can be for yourself. Anyway, so there you go. There's a really delicious, lots of fresh fruit, fresh vegetables on here. There's some cheese, there's quinoa, so it's got a really nice balance of protein and fiber and all that stuff. Everybody tells us it's so good for us. I just think it looks great, and I think it tastes great, so that's why I eat it. It's just very nourishing to see this kind of color every day. But you don't have to do it every day. So anyway, everybody enjoy. I nearly forgot the final touch. Squeeze a little lime on here. Just a little bit of lime juice. Spark it up. And enjoy.